Ladies and gentlemen, let's read GameTech.com video news from the team at Sony. Just seems to keep coming. They have just announced PlayStation Vita TV and will be available from the 14th of November. So what exactly is PlayStation Vita TV, I hear you scream, other than a really long name? Well, it's a very small device and will plug directly into your television set, unsurprisingly given the name. It'll cost 9,480 yen or 63 pounds and will allow you to play PlayStation Vita games directly onto your television. More than just that, you'll be able to access various digital television services such as, for example, Hulu. And for those of you who choose to buy a PlayStation 4, it will also support remote play. So in short, you can beam your PlayStation 4 and play it on a separate television in a different room. We also know that the pack is going to be available with a DualShock 3 controller and 8GB memory card, and that will be available for £96 or 14,994 yen. Obviously, exchange rates do vary. Now, we're not exactly certain when it's going to be launching in the rest of the world. Sony actually said, and I quote, "in Japan before other regions," suggesting it will be available in other regions around the world, for example the United States, but we're not exactly sure when. We do, however, have a list of technical specifications for it. So it's only 110 grams and is powered by an ARM Cortex A9 4-core CPU, and a GPU is IMG SGX 543MP4, and will have main slots and connectors for, among other things, a PlayStation Vita memory slot, which is good of course, a memory card, USBs, HDMI and LAN, and will also of course support wireless communications of various types. It will also have an internal memory card. As for those of you wondering about the types of television output, well, my good sir, or madam indeed, it will support 720p 1080i as well as 480p, so most outputs are going to be accepted, and will also include along with it, of course, the box itself, one HDMI cable, the AC power adapter, of course it's going to need that, the power cord, as well as the manuals, so not too shabby if I do say so myself. I must say that I am quite excited about this device. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I do wish, from a standpoint of someone who doesn't really mobile game, to be honest with you, I wish Nintendo would do exactly the same thing, but for the 3DS, and I think it's a really cool way to just get gamers to be able to play their titles on the television. Obviously, the price is a lot cheaper than a Vita. This goes to show you just how much money is really being put into the packaging, the screen, the battery, as well as other bits and pieces, of course, which go into the production of a Vita. Even things such as, say, the software and so on are obviously go towards the final production cost of the unit. This is a very cheap way to play games, and I think Sony are very smart to do this. I would be curious to see if this sells really well. Obviously, they're not exactly the same markets. For example, if you are a Vita gamer, you may do so out of pure convenience. In other words, you spend, say, a lot of time on, say, public transport, for example, the train. You see, just an example, obviously I'm in the UK, you see a lot of people taking the train, of course, going into London, just because it's a hell of a lot simpler for the most part than driving in because of the traffic congestion. And so you will see quite a few people, men and women, playing Vitas, especially about 6-7 o'clock when business hours are over. You'll see a lot of people on the train just with their cell phones or 3DS or Vitas. So obviously I don't really think it's going to impact them too much. But for those who are mostly, home gamers, then I think it'll be a very nice alternative indeed, as well as a cheap way to be able to beam your PlayStation to different rooms in the house. And I have to confess, as I said, I do think the price point is pretty damn spot on. It's not too bad at all, especially with the PlayStation 4's release. I can imagine quite a few people are going to want to pick this up as an additional extra. After all, it's basically a second games console, and ability to, of course, play your PlayStation 4 in a different room really good if someone else is using, say, the main TV. Anyway, with all of that said, hopefully you've enjoyed the relatively brief video. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.